Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of the HT Physio Quick Tips series. If you don't know who I am, my name is Will Harlow. I'm the Over-50s Specialist Physio here at HT Physio in Farnham. And in today's video, I'm going to be revealing 5 signs that indicate that you might need one of these, a walking stick or a cane. Now before we dive into the tips, obviously these are not going to be suitable for everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean just because you've got one of these that you need to go out and buy a stick. But it's just some of the signs I look for in my clients to suggest that they might benefit from using a walking stick or a cane. The other thing I wanted to say is there is nothing wrong with feeling like you need to use one of these. There should be no stigma attached to it. If this helps you to feel more stable when you walk and to walk a bit further, then the net benefit of using this is going to far outweigh becoming slightly reliant on it. And as you get stronger, as you get fitter, you can always work towards getting rid of the need to use it. So that being said, let's talk about the 5 signs that indicates that someone might benefit from using one of these. And the first sign I look for is giving way of the hip or the knee. Now I hear this complaint often from people. They say that they're walking, especially if they've got arthritis, and sometimes their leg can hit the floor and it can feel like their knee wants to give way. Or it could also feel like they're walking here and their hip feels like it's going to give way. And this is quite a common sign of arthritis, and it can be really scary for people that it happens to. Now, aside from the obvious pain and the fear of it happening, we also actually do increase the falls risk of the person when we allow giving way to happen. So giving way often happens because the joint is not very happy, and it happens because muscles around the joint have become quite weak. So if that's the case, obviously rehab to strengthen those areas is good, but using a walking stick can protect from that kind of thing happening. So what I usually recommend to my clients is they use their walking stick in the opposite side of the problem. So if you've got a left knee or a left hip that starts to give way, you would use it in your right hand, and as you're walking, your right hand comes forward at the same time as your left leg. So if it does feel like your knee's going to give way, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to put a bit more weight through your hand, so you're not going to tumble to the floor. So if you're walking like this and it gives way, you've got this to rely on. So that's one of the signs I look for someone who might benefit from one of these. Now the second sign I look for in people who might need a walking stick is something we call furniture walking. Now furniture walking is a really common thing. You might have noticed it from an older relative, but it's when you see someone moving around their house, grabbing the walls, grabbing the tables, grabbing the chairs to keep themselves stable. And a lot of people use furniture walking very effectively. They use it to keep themselves balanced. But the problem with furniture walking is that furniture tends to move. And if you happen to grab something on a table, or you happen to grab a sideboard that's not quite stable and it gives way, you are going to give way with it. That's why for people who furniture walk, we usually recommend considering one of these instead. You've got a lot more control over one of these than you do the furniture, and it's less likely to cause things to fall off the side, or to break a table, or to have a chair topple over. If you're using one of these, it tends to be a lot safer. Now the third sign that you might benefit from using a cane is loss of balance, particularly when walking outside. So people who use walking sticks don't just use them because they've got a weakness in their leg. It might be that they lack balance. And if you lack balance, that tends to affect your confidence. So your posture ends up coming down like this because you're trying to drop your center of gravity closer to the floor. And that leads to poor posture when walking, as well as an increased risk of falls in case you actually did lose your balance. So a cane can be the perfect solution for this. It just gives you that third point of contact with the floor. So if you do feel like you're a bit wobbly, this time you haven't just got 2 points of contact on the floor, you've got a third, and that means you're almost like a tripod rather than a bipod. And that means that you're more stable because you've spread your weight further between the 3 points. So if you feel like you're losing your balance, particularly when you're walking outside, it might be wise to just take one of these with you and to use it as an extra base of support. Now the fourth sign that you might benefit from a walking stick is you have trouble with a heel to toe walking pattern. Now when I say heel to toe walking pattern, what I mean is when you're swinging your leg forward, the first thing that should hit the ground is your heel, then your foot should rock to being flat, and then you push off through your toes. Now for whatever reason, many people have a trouble with getting their heel down first. So they end up falling flat-footed like this, and then it just messes up the whole walking cycle. It causes more strain on your ankle, on your knee, on your hip, and even on your lower back. So if you have trouble with that and you feel unconfident in getting your heel down first or pushing off with your toes, you might find that having one of these on the floor as well can help you to do so. So if you're having trouble doing it with your right leg, again, you'd have your stick in your left hand. And what you would try and do is you would time the heel to strike on the floor alongside the stick. And then as you push through the toes, you also push through the stick and it propels you forward. So I'll show you again. So if you're having trouble with heel to toe, you should concentrate on getting the heel down at the same time as the stick and then pushing off with the stick and the toes at the same time. And that can be a really effective way to help people with weakness or tightness or stiffness to get a better heel to toe pattern when they walk and to take stress off the joints further up the body as well. And then the fifth sign that you might need a walking stick is a flexed or stooped posture when walking. And we see this quite often, particularly in people who are a bit older. And one of the common causes of that is spinal stenosis, so loss of space where the nerves leave the spine, which means people have to come forward to open those spaces up. We also see it in people who have poor confidence and poor balance. They do this to try and bring their center of gravity down towards the floor so they can balance better. But the problem with this posture is it actually brings your center of gravity outside your body, which makes you more likely to fall. Okay, so if you're walking like this, even if it feels more comfortable, technically you're not as safe as someone who's walking upright. So if that's the case for you, you feel like you have to walk like this because of pain in your back, or you feel that you're not confident enough to stand up, introducing one of these in front of you can just give you that bit of support ahead, just to keep you safe, if nothing else. The other thing you can use it for is if you feel happy, you can use it to just slightly lift yourself up as well. That's why measuring the stick perfectly is incredibly important. And again, we want that walking stick to line up nicely with the first crease on your wrist. And then you can use it if you're like this to help you come up a little bit by extending the elbow, or if you don't feel you can come up because you've got stenosis or something like that, then at least you can use it to stop yourself from toppling forward. Anyway, I hope that's all made sense. Those are 5 signs I look for that might indicate that one of these could be useful. If you found this video useful, then please do like the video, subscribe to the channel and drop a comment below. And if you want to get more from me, you can pick up a copy of my book. It's called Thriving Beyond 50 and you can find it on Amazon using the link below. Anyway, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you on the next one.